part where you just like wait to come in and you just keep refreshing on the tab.
That's it.
But are you excited? We got number 1 versus number 3 this week. Bishop Gorman.
Yeah, I always wonder why the person doing the the rankings doesn't put 1 versus 2 just to build up
I'm not
the
being
hype.
biased.
Good, I respect it.
IMG Academy is pretty good.
They're very good. They're very good. But there's a big game that happened last night that kind of put some kinks into like a computer type of analytical.
Point, that was impressive. Chandler's no joke, and they were up 52-0 with 4 minutes left.
But it looks like we are right now live on MaxPreps, which is great to see.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Chris Stonebraker. Welcome to the MaxPreps Top 10 Games of the Week. This guy is Zack Poff, National Football Editor here at MaxPreps.com. And Zach, what do we have on tap for the fans out there of high school football?
Well, we were talking about it just before we came on live. We got number 1 Bishop Gorman against number 3 St. John Bosco.
Yep.
We got some other big-time games, and we touched on the big clash yesterday in Arizona. Mountain Point 52, Chandler 7. Very impressive win. We also got a DC Power taking on a Jersey Power.
We got some games every week, top 10 games of the week. We don't just give you just the regular ones.
And the Oklahoma clash, too.
We've got the Backyard Bowl, Jinx versus Union, one of the biggest rivalries in the whole.
53rd matchup, I believe, since 1977.
Wow, and one of those teams have been winning the state championship in Oklahoma for the last 15 years, I want to say, give or take. Anyways, the biggest game of the week.
Yeah.
Cali versus Nevada. We got Bellflower versus Las Vegas.
You're going city to city.
We got St. John Bosco versus Bishop Gorman. Number 3 versus number 1.
Yeah, let's jump to the highlights for the number 1 team in the country, Bishop Gorman. Now, this is one of the most explosive offenses in the country. Through 2 games, they're averaging 45 points per game. And, you know, they're not playing any teams that aren't good. They went through Cocoa, a big-time Florida school, and you see the highlights here against against Cedar Hill, a big-time Texas Power. And not many teams go into Texas and win 44-14 like they did. And it looks like Biagio Walsh will be back this week, and he sat out last week nursing an ankle injury. All signs point to him playing in this one, and that's going to be a huge factor for the Gales. But we all know what it comes down to for Bishop Gorman. This guy right here, 2017 Ohio State commit, Tate Martell. He loves the big lights. That's when he plays his best. He is a big-time playmaker. Now, on the other side, they're going up against St. John Bosco, a team that still has not allowed a single point this year through 2 games. You're getting a look at Real Mitchell right there. Big-time 2018 recruit. Only a 3-star. Book it. By the end of the year, he'll be at least a 4-star recruit. He's one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the country. But this is where Jason Negro bunch plays the best. On this side of the rock, they force turnovers. They come to hit you in the mouth. St. John Bosco will be ready for Bishop Gorman tonight, and it is going to be a can't-miss game. I can't wait for this one. Now, I think the difference, Stoney, in this one is going to be on offense for St. John Bosco, especially Real Mitchell. You get a look at Terrence Beasley right there. He's a big-time running back. But I think it's going to come down to what can Real Mitchell do against Bishop Gorman, a defense that doesn't get enough love, just how explosive the offense is, but the defense might be even better than the offense. Bishop Gorman is going to be ready for St. John Bosco on both sides of the rock.
Oh, for sure. I think when you start looking at things from the perspective of St. John Bosco with what Negro's been doing over the last years, they're going to score. It's going to be a very similar game, in my opinion, to that IMG game that we saw last week versus Centennial. Both teams are going to be able to score. Who has the ball last? It's going to be another classic. I'm looking forward to watching this one this weekend.
And Stoney, if you look back to the time they played in 2014 in Vegas, that was a great game. It was 34-31 win.
Rosen had a chance of bringing it down.
It came down to a near onside kick that they got, but the Vegas Power came out on top. Bishop Gorman able to hold on. And the thing that's crazy, too, is, you look at the schedule that Tate Martell has played.
Especially the last 3 years of out of state.
How many games has he lost?
People talk about a lot of...
he lost?
None. Hey, you talk about with Bishop Gorman a lot of the times, yes, when they get to the state-type games with the state championships and the playoffs, it is weaker than other states. But you cannot say that they don't go against some of the best teams year in and year out in the first 5 to 6 games of the season.
And what do we got people saying so far?
So let's go to some of our little comments here on Facebook Live. And
I see a little DeAndre Swift love. He's big time. We're going to get to that game in just a sec. So.
Yes. And we also, let's look what else we have. Anthony Krause is going Robinson Knights. Football, go Knights, go Knights.
There you
Hopefully they take it on this weekend. And what do you guys think of DeSoto
I think
from
Sean Robinson's
Emmett
pretty
Perry?
good. 2017 TCU commit, former star at Denton Guyer, and they're 2-0, number 5 team in our Excellent 25 rankings, presented by the Army National Guard. Now, Stoney, another game I can't wait for is
we got St. John's versus St. Joseph Regionals. Before we get to that, Real Mitchell, you were speaking of him a lot from St. John Bosco. Yeah. He's actually taken over the MaxPreps Snapchat account, so make sure you follow MaxPreps on Snapchat to see everything that he brings us today. Going up to the game tonight, he's going to give us some behind the scenes. So Real Mitchell did that, and then St. John Bosco, some of the boosters are taking over during the game, so you can get a little bit of an inside view from the sidelines as well. So follow Snapchat each and every week. The biggest game, we give you a nice little behind the scenes. Now, on to the next game is St. John's versus St. Joseph Regional, going from the DMV, St. John's, going down to St. Joseph.
People still don't
or
like
up
hearing the
or
word
over.
DMV. They think they got to wait forever. So.
Hey, you got to go District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia, going to a Jersey Power and St. Joseph Regional.
We actually got the DeAndre Swift highlights going right now, but if we could, let's run the St. Joseph Regional stuff real quick, because they're playing number 24, St. John's. Now, here we go. St. Joseph Regional, man, this team is big time. They went out to California last week. Longest trip they've ever had. It was a good one. They beat Gardena Sarah 17-7. This team will punch you in the mouth. Very good defense. Underrated players on offense, but where their money is made is on defense, man. They get to the quarterback, and they are big time on defense. Now, looking at St. John's, they're a different animal too. I mean, they're right there with IMG, in my opinion, and St. Thomas Aquinas, Bishop Gorman when it comes to talent. They are loaded with some big-time playmakers. St. John's, the number 24 team in the country on the Excellent 25 rankings, presented by the Army National Guard. St. John's, a Washington, D.C. power, and hey, you knew they were big time when they took down Pittsburgh Power Central Catholic in their season opener, and then they beat a Florida squad last week too. So they'll be ready to go. Saturday game. So I can't wait for this one, Stoney.
Oh, everyone always looks forward to these type of games on the East Coast. You gotta love them. St. John's, Washington, D.C. Those teams out there in the D.C. area, you're talking about St. John's, you're talking about DeMathas, you're talking about Good Counsels. Great teams each and every year.
Speaking of DeMatha and Good Counsel, they will play both those teams within the next 4 weeks. And they also play at IMG Academy after they play St. Joseph Regional. So St. John's, no cookies this year for them.
And the rankings are going to be moving all around. I mean, when you start putting the best versus the best, whoever wins moves up, loses moves down, and so forth. So looking forward to seeing that St. John's IMG game.
And we got another Jersey game, and they're playing a very good Philly game. Our producer was so happy to get to DeAndre Swift. That's how big he is, man. DeAndre Swift is no joke. You get a look at DeAndre Swift right here, and hey, this guy is big time, man.
You led into it a little bit earlier when you were talking about Don Bosco Prep. You got Don Bosco, the Ironmen, one of the best teams from New Jersey year in and year out, and they are going to go against St. Joseph Prep, going to Philly.
Yeah, and you're getting a look at St. Joseph Prep, and that's DeAndre Swift. I tell you what, though, with St. Joseph Prep, they're big time on the offensive line, and it's led by one of the best in all of Philadelphia, 3-star offensive tackle, Carter Lynch. He really leads the way on offense for these guys. But DeAndre Swift, man, he is a tough guy to tackle. Last week against Oaks Christian, he balled for 300 yards almost and had 4 touchdowns. Now, you could make a strong case. He is the second best running back in all of high school football. Andy Oxenajee Harris is the #1 overall recruit in the class, so you can't put him over him. But DeAndre Swift, when it comes to playmaking ability, he matches up against anybody in all of high school football. But Don Bosco Prep, on the other hand, too. Always big-time defense, but they need the offense to get going, and they're going to need 4-star quarterback Tommy DeVito, a 2017 Syracuse commit to have a big game. Last week, the offense struggled a bit against a very good American Heritage team, the number 19 team in our Excellent 25, presented by the Army National Guard. They were shut out 21-0, so you know Greg Toll and his bunch will be ready to go this week against a very good St. Joseph Prep team. And Stoney, guess what? Greg Toll is 1 win away from 300.
One win.
1 win.
300 wins is a very, very good career.
That's
when you're
that century
talking
mark.
about
That's that big number, you know?
300
big
wins
deal.
is a big number. Now, when we're talking about the games of the week, I'm right now on Facebook Live, and I am seeing some people coming in, chatting to us.
Stone, St. John's? We got 'em.
Sabino High in Tucson, Arizona. You know what that is? That's a lead-in to us talking about a game last night.
I was hoping you were bringing it up for us. They're good, though. They're big time.
Yeah, we want to talk about going to Arizona, and thank you very much for throwing that out there, Alex Roman. Last night, huge game, Mountain
big
Point
time.
versus Chandler. You have some stats about this, but I mean, just to throw in to telling you guys, Chandler is a very good team. They lost to a Centennial squad that just went.
It was 49-49, under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And Centennial almost beat the number 2 team in the country, IMG Academy.
And Chandler only loses to them by 7 the week before. So Chandler's a very good team. Mountain Point versus Chandler. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, Mountain Point, man, they look good. 52-7 win. You're getting to look at Isaiah Polamalu. Just big time. And he's a 4-star safety, and he's out there doing stuff like that on offense. He ended the day with 2 touchdowns. The defense was a story, though, for Mountain Point. There's his only interception there, Isaiah Polamalu. 4-star safety, number 2 overall recruit in all of Arizona. Mountain Point, though, our guy Mitch Stevens was right on the money when he had them in our top 25 to begin the season, and they are out there balling right now. Mr. Bragg, the running back, 3 touchdowns last night, almost 200 yards. Mountain Point, man, they were just firing on all cylinders. That was number 1 versus number 2 in the state of Arizona. And Mountain Point made it seem like they should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the state. Yeah, they are loaded.
There was no
talent.
1A, 1B.
Now,
in
Stoney,
that
I was getting a little bit of heat because Mountain Point was one of the teams I moved ahead of Corona Centennial in this week's rankings. And Mountain Point beat Chandler way easier than Centennial did.
And ladies and gentlemen, those were actual video highlights from the game last night. You're not going to get that anywhere else besides here on MaxPreps.com, bringing you an Arizona matchup, 1 versus 2.
We got Katie in there. Katie's nice. DeAndre Glass, man, 2019 running back. He might be, right there, top 10 running back, regardless of class.
Michelle Pedalansky, hopefully I say that name right.
She
goes Central Catholic Modesto, go Raiders. Central Catholic year in and year out is the best team in the Modesto area.
Yeah.
Great team, great running back. Go out to the Raiders out there.
And I tell you what, too, hit us up on Facebook. I'm going to try and get back to as many people as I can throughout the day. So let us know what you think the game of the week is and what are some of the games we might be missing on. But Stoney, we're loaded, man. I mean, I can't wait, man. Bishop Gorman, St. John Bosco, 1 versus 3. Let's go.
Let's go. And these were the top 10 games. If you want to see the rest of the top 10 games of the week, there's an article right on MaxPreps.com. Goes through each and every one, goes into greater detail about even the Jinx Union game that we spoke of earlier. Backyard Bowl.
Biggest rivalry in all of high school football.
Yeah, you have to say it's at least a top 10 of all of them. I have been to it in 2006. Love the game, love the atmosphere. Redskins, Trojans, an amazing game at the University of Tulsa. Packed house. That's a game, if you're a high school fan, you want to go see. St. Xavier versus Trinity. We had a Trinity, Kentucky mention in here as well on the Facebook Live. There's games each and every week.
Speaking of Trinity, Kentucky, they were one of the 5 bubble teams just outside of the top 25, too. So they are playing really good football here to start 2016 season.
We're going to look forward to seeing that game in a few weeks. So my name is Chris Stonebraker. This right here is Zack Poff. We try our best each and every week to cover all 16,000 plus high school football teams in America and just give you 10 of the main games. And so hopefully you enjoyed this.
It's no easy task.
It's no easy task. Be on the lookout for more on MaxPreps.com and keep on clicking on to MaxPreps, America's source for high school sports.
I knew you were going to smile at my dad.